Welcome back to the Movie World Marathon. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Matt
And we are
King.
finishing up our Harry Potter marathon. We are on Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 2, which for this movie, or for this episode, we'll just basically call it 8. Um,
Eight.
Came out July 7th, 2011, directed by David Yates, starring all of the people: Daniel, Emma, Rupert, Alan, Tom, Ralph, Jason, Helena, Matthew, Bonnie, Helen, Michael Gambon, Warwick Davis, everyone. Warwick Davis is in this twice. Good on him. Yeah, so on and so forth. Also, see the disclaimer in the description. Thank you very much, as well as in the first episode. Thank you. Cool, 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 cool. All right, here we are at the end of the marathon. I don't know how to. I'm all hyped up since we've been talking about it already. So I got to try to focus again. Bring it back
I know.
into the beginning of this one.
I feel like the beginning is really strong.
This is gonna sound really bad.
Oh.
Remind me of the beginning.
So we pick up
literally
almost
just
immediately in the cottage.
Did we pick up in the
and
cottage?
We're negotiating.
I couldn't remember if there was some other like something or. Oh! We start with Snape looking sadly over the castle, and yes, now we're
And we also get like the beginning of this film is this ending scene of the last film with Voldemort getting the wand from Dumbledore's grave, which like real small note, really not that important, but Dumbledore's grave is way too modern for Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Why are we doing like modernist cubism for this guy?
I don't
He's
know.
clearly
Very
like,
interesting.
His grave should look like Hogwarts. Anyway,
You think? But yes, we are. We honestly, to the film's credit, we hop right in. You know, we're not messing
do.
around. If you're watching this, you've watched the other ones. We're getting right into it. Right on. I'm digging it.
we're copying the film here. We're assuming you're watching these back to back because,
Yep.
like, why not, right?
And I do like I like the opening stuff. I like the conversations. I like Grip Hook. Warwick Davis is killing it. I mean, he's a pill in the end, but I like their conversation. And
Their conversation here is so narratively driven.
Yeah.
I love it. Like
Yeah.
we're negotiating. We have a target in mind that we're trying to reach. Our negotiation is reliant upon the history of the world as we've established in the previous films, as well as character history and like previous quest prizes. Like everything in this conversation, it is driving to a point and it is referencing things that we already know and understand from the past. Great way to start the end of your story.
Yeah.
That's a strong scene.
I also like how it illustrates the divide of this world with simple dialogue. Griphook simply says that you rescued me and you buried the elf. That's very unusual for a wizard. And we, because we aren't monsters watching it, and Harry, of course, is like, what do you... What? I mean, Harry doesn't say as much, but it's like, this is just basic... This is basic kindness, dude. But that's how messed up this world is. And that's what the relationship between wizards and goblins is like. But yeah, finding out that the sword there's a fake one out there that Snape hit it. Cool, fun stuff. And then the conversation with Ollivander, I think, is just as fun in different ways. Of course, I love that they got the same guy. I know in some ways that's not surprising, but at the same time, being almost 10 years later and the majority of people probably not caring, I like that they went, or that he was open to it at the very least, to just keep the same dude. So much fun.
Yeah, no, this is another, well, for the first time this episode, but related to a critique from the last episode. This is another world building thing that we're introducing really late in the story. This idea of like wands surrendering or choosing a new person based off of the consequences of a duel.
Yeah.
And since we set up the whole like Dumbledore Draco Snape thing in, a couple of films ago, we probably should have known before that moment that was a thing.
Yeah. It's
But
so
okay.
the movie again doesn't expand on it. It implies in this movie that if you disarm someone, their allegiance, the wand's allegiance changes. That's not the case for every single wand. There are wands that have loyalty. It just happens
Yielding versus unyielding.
Yeah, Draco's wand, because it's Draco, is drawn to whoever is stronger. And the Elder Wand is straight up only cares about who is the most
Survival of
powerful.
the fittest.
So if you were to disarm Harry, Ron, Hermione, they may not immediately change allegiance. It happens that Draco's and the Elder Wand are like that, so that's a little bit convenient.
I mean, I think it kind of works. I think it says a lot about Draco's character that his wand would be like that, because your wand is supposed to reflect your character, right?
Yeah.
And I think the Elder Wand being like that is perfectly aligned with what it's supposed to be, as well as a commentary on just like power in general. If you want power at the cost of everything else, then you will be that cost one day. Like, that's perfect thematic work, I think. But I do just think that it's really late to be introducing a very important plot piece or world building piece that's going to be relevant really soon to the climax of your story. So much so that like the climax of your story doesn't really work without it.
Yeah.
So it's just it's a little late to be throwing that in the mix. But you did throw it in at the very beginning of this film. I'll give you that. I have enough time to get used to the idea.
Okay.
We can make it work. Yeah. It's a little last minute, but we can make it work.
Speaking of the wands, just for a second, it's always bothered me at the end when Draco's like, "Hey, you have my wand. I want it back." And Harry's like, "What's wrong with the one you got?" He's like, "Oh, it's my mother's." Like, it shouldn't be, because Dobby took hers at the end of the last one, and they all teleported away. They took like that whole family's wands in that movie. No one in the Malfoy family should have a wand. So that's always bothered me that for some reason they don't have Narcissa's wand, because Dobby's holding it when he apparates away. Whatever, doesn't really matter, but it bothered me. So yeah, we have our two conversations. We now have our plan. We're breaking into Gringotts. Oh, I fucking love this. The whole sequence.
It's great.
I love it. I have like 2 nitpicks, but I love it. Oh, it's so much fun. Yeah. The Polyjuice Potion with Bellatrix Lestrange. The Invisibility Cloak. Are we going to reference the fact that it's a literal Deathly Hallow that we've had the whole time? No.
Why would we do that?
No. But we get in, and then, nitpick, we use Imperio. I don't care that we use Imperio. I kind of like that the scenario is so dire that we're just, you know what, rules be damned. I don't like the visual element of it being a gas that infects a brain. I really like how almost every other movie presents Imperio. How the Fantastic Beasts movies do it.
Puppet string.
The puppet string thing. It's way more interesting. There's a handful of spells that they start doing both in this and in Fantastic Beasts where it's like a weird gaseous thing that goes through the nose and into the brain. I don't like that, because in this it makes them look like they're high. And that's not what Imperio did previously. So, nitpick, sure, but I'm not digging that. Other than that, this is all awesome. The Ukrainian Iron Belly is incredible. I love how that thing looks.
It's visually amazing.
Yeah.
Like, even there's some of the special effects that have some seams at this point.
Sure.
The dragon looks
so good.
Great.
Love the design.
Like,
albino
the choice
wounded
to make it
cave dragon
albino
thing.
With blood. Yes.
So good.
It's very good.
The sequence itself of just them driving down and then like through the waterfall is really fun too. Like, I understand why that's a roller coaster, because I want to ride that roller coaster. We get in, we get the cup. That's great. The sequence of them riding the dragon out is amazing. I love it. I love how it crawls up the cave wall. I love how it breathes when it gets to the top of the bank, because it hasn't had fresh air. Like, there's a lot of really good detail that was put into this little sequence that was not necessary, but I see it and I appreciate it because it's good.
Even in like character moments in this scene, we're like, we need an idea on how to get out of here. Hermione, you're the idea person. She's like, I have an idea, but it's a really bad one. And they look at her like, we got nothing. And then she jumps on the back of a raging dragon.
Yes.
Amazing.
The only thing I wish they would have added. Oh, speaking of the good details, I like the dragon can't immediately fly. Again, detail, because it hasn't for so long. I really wish we would have seen Hermione, like, one of the wizard guards or goblin picks up the bells, because Griphook took them with him, and she just zaps them. so that they can't stop the dragon. You know, just an added little oomph of preventing them from stopping them, but also, you know, sticking it to the ones that have abused this dragon. But yeah, then we're on our way, and we get again really right into it. But that sequence is great. I'd love to just rewatch that one every now and then, 'cause it's some good fun.
Understandable. Honestly, if you patch together the best sequences from these last two films, you end up with a really fantastic world and really cool shots and experiences. It's just the linear storytelling, particularly in the last one,
Sure,
struggles quite a bit.
I can accept that for sure. And this one's a little bit weird too, because we've kind of moved away from any kind of literary storytelling. It's just mission. It's just fight.
Yeah.
And I can see why
there are definitely thematic scenes and moments happening, but you are right that it is like primarily almost action movie more than it is anything else. Yeah. And the others have been hybrids of that sort of like action versus like drama moments, you know? Yeah. Like even Half-Blood Prince is almost entirely drama up to a certain point.
True.
And it's one of the best films. So, you know, there's a note to be said in that this is definitely like very kind of plot heavy in comparison to other Harry Potter films.
For sure. But then we have our underwater brain meld with Voldemort. We realize that there's one Horcrux that has to do with Ravenclaw, so now we gotta go to Hogwarts. Cool. So we go to Hogsmeade. And we meet Aberforth. That's great. Before we get into that, I need to nitpick something real quick. I am confused as to the weather in this general area. So I think there might have been some confusion when making the movie as to when they wanted this to take place. Because the Battle of Hogwarts in the book, if I recall, takes place in May. That is not the case here, because this is like a week after Christmas. When we're at the beach, it doesn't look warm, but it looks fairly tame.
Tolerable.
And Diagon Alley is cold, but tolerable. We go to Hogsmeade, and it's got like 8 inches of snow. And then we go to Hogwarts, which is up the hill, and there's not a flake in sight. So it's bothered me just a tad, because I think the Battle of Hogwarts is supposed to look like maybe it's early spring, but Hogsmeade is the only place that's kept up with like, oh yeah, it was Christmas last week, so there's snow on the ground. Does this matter? No, but it bothers me. But we go to Hogsmeade. We meet Aberforth. Cool. He's a rough and grizzly dude who's bit rough around the edges, kind of
cynical.
Cynical. Yeah, he's a cynical old man.
Except, is he so cynical?
He's stubborn. I can relate to that quite a bit.
Because like I really like the small conversation. I remember the first time I watched these films, I didn't really get the scene with like, you know, Forth and the whole like, you know, understanding the history and whatnot. But I felt like in this one it kind of worked, because it, even though, again, because we can't hold on to any of our side characters, or at least we can't use the side characters we have well, we're introducing a new character to tell us new information rather than using existing characters. But forgiving that, we meet a guy who's cynical. He's seen it all before. He knew it would happen again. Can you really prevent it from happening, right? And he's got this very doom and gloom outlook on life. And yet, he is helping the people who are fighting against it. Almost like he can't help himself.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is very important in a story like this, to have the people who, even the people who don't see a way out, are still fighting, because that they just feel like they have to. And that, I think, is a great inclusion. So I actually do like this scene now. I didn't get it before, but I do now.
Sure. I do. I also, you're very much right in pointing out these two movies are introducing a lot of new stuff. I think they do, with the Dumbledore stuff, they do it rather well, in including that he's just private, which I can believe, you know? Because we didn't talk about it a lot last movie, but we kind of get into, again, in this one with Aberforth, how well did you really know the guy? Well, to be
Right.
fair, I only spent, let's be real generous, 1 year of my adult life with the guy, because the year before that he ghosted me. The year before that I was in the Triwizard Tournament. The year before that I think I share 2 scenes with him. The year before that, everyone hates me because they think I'm the heir of Slytherin. The year before that I just met him. So no, I guess I really didn't know him that well, because there's no reason to have known him that well.
We don't even have like classes with Dumbledore. Not that you
No.
would expect necessarily the headmaster to teach, just that like McGonagall feels like the trusted adult, and
Yes,
Dumbledore
yes.
is maybe like, the aspiring figure in the sense that like you would want to be like him or learn from him one day. But this sort of like close relationship, mentor-mentee thing that the movies or the people around Harry try to impose on their relationship, it feels strange. It's like, sure, they've kind of like, I guess, shared secrets because of the nature of like who Harry is and what Dumbledore knows about who Harry is. But can you really say that they've had like anything close to a parental or
Right.
teacher-student relationship? I don't know. I don't know. It's almost like they're reluctant, or not reluctant allies, but it's like they're 2 people who find themselves on the same side of a conflict, who seem to have a respect for each other. But to say more than that is like maybe what they want out of the relationship between each other, but not.
I think
the
it's
reality
just
of
it's
it.
the unfortunate thing of a 2-hour movie being the whole school year, because they hang out more, they talk more.
That's
they
a good point.
Yeah, it's just, but it's a great moment with Aberforth, and a great reveal with new badass Neville Longbottom, just leading the resistance. Super cool.
Question.
Yes.
Why is Luna back at Hogwarts? I genuinely can't remember if there's an explanation for that.
So again, this is the first time I've seen this version of the movie, and this actually has all the weird little deleted scenes that they should not have deleted, because this is the shortest Harry Potter movie. With all of the extra scenes, it's a little over 2 hours, so like they did not need to cut these. She talks to Harry while at the Shell Cottage. She says she's going back, and Harry's like, "It's not the place that you remember," and she's like, "Well, neither am I. But even so, babe, don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it." Like, no.
I don't see what she thought she would accomplish
I don't
by going
either.
back,
I really don't.
I do like that she's there, because I like that she and Neville have their little moments.
Sure, and she tells Harry about the diadem, but like, I just...
But it feels kind of like you just got out of danger, hun. Like, you were just being tortured.
Why would you
and
go
held
back?
By the Death Eaters.
You literally
Should
just
go back
escaped
to
the
place
Death
Death
Eaters.
Eaters control?
Yeah, like, why would you...
And because you're there, what makes you think they're not going to pull you out and put you back in that cage?
Exactly.
Like,
what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then
maybe if she were to like sneakily join like an underground resistance version, I could see that. But like just walking around in the open in Hogwarts,
her being a
no
part
sense
of the
for
Order
her.
of the Phoenix reveal with Kingsley and the Weasleys, that'd be fine, because then she's there. She can give the info about the diadem, and then we can move on with our resistance battle. It doesn't make any sense. Also, Cho shouldn't be there either, because she has graduated by now. In the book, there are...
I forgot about that.
Yeah. In the book, I believe there's a handful of students that come back through the tunnel that have already graduated to help. Wood comes back. He leads, like, one of the flying groups. So, like...
I remember that moment.
Yeah, that's all good and fine. But Cho just being there hanging out in this room that's, like, looks like it's meant to be a secret room, but also can't be. I don't really know what's going on in this room, but we don't have to think about it too much. She shouldn't be there. We do have some really fun moments of levity, though, with the whole, where is it? What is it? That's nothing to go on, which is really funny. And then Seamus also saying, she's got lots of brothers, though, Ron. She's only got one Harry. Like, we're having some fun. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Immediately followed up by, I think, a pretty awesome moment. Even though watching this again and again, we know Snape's role. When Harry just shows up in the middle of the Great Hall and just lets him have it. Ugh. So satisfying. And then the Order of the Phoenix shows up. Ugh. So good.
Oh, don't skip the coolest part of that scene.
Oh, go on.
Snape deflects the spells into the Death Eaters.
I was getting to it.
Leaves.
I was getting to it.
Okay, but you...
No, Order of the Phoenix shows up first. And then
Oh,
he
did
yells,
I?
right, he says, remember, so Snape's like, I invite them to step forward
Okay.
now. Yeah, like, and then he's like, despite your exhaustive defensive strategies, you still have a bit of a security problem. Order of the Phoenix shows up. And then Harry yells at him. And then he
That's
points
right.
his wand.
Okay.
And we get this relatively tragic moment where McGonagall has to turn a
I
wand on a
know.
previous student. And Snape
I
even
know.
even counters for a second because he's got no issue with McGonagall. But then, yes, you're absolutely
Uh-huh.
right. He takes those fuckers out. And I love that. That's real subtle.
It's
They're
I
laying it
do
out
actually
for
do
us.
like you mentioned, like the moment where McGonagall steps out in front and she makes that decision, they give. I mean, maybe it's just the actors and the director took advantage. Maybe it was the blocking of the scene, but they genuinely let those two characters react to the fact that that's what she just did, right? Like she's
Mm-hmm.
not even like she steps out to protect Harry, and then she goes, "Oh, I'm raising a wand against Snape, who is
Mm-hmm.
not only a colleague but someone I taught."
Mm-hmm.
And then she resolves. She's like, "No, this is what I want to
Oh,
do."
this is it.
And
We're
he
doing
has
it.
a response. Yeah, and his response is like, "I don't want to hurt her. Oh, but like I can't drop my guard. I can make this work." You know, like
Mm-hmm.
there's very quick decision
Oh,
making
it's so
happening
good.
right on their faces, and you
Mm-hmm.
don't fully know what's happening, at least not for Snape, until you get the whole like twist ending thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great moment. I love that they allow their actors to do their jobs. So
Yes.
good.
Yes.
So
I
good.
also I like people point out that before he flies out, he flies over both of them to make sure they're unconscious. I don't know for sure if that's what's happening, but it does look like it.
I think it's just a flourish.
Sure, sure. I'll take either
Hmm.
one. But yeah, I do like that. And I like how she ignites the fires, and I like the little moment between her and Harry.
Hmm.
Now,
Hmm.
I'm gonna I have a little thing where like I'm gonna fight against you for a second, but then you're gonna end up being right. And you don't even have to say anything. So we get the Voldemort voicemail, which is all creepy and stuff. And Pansy Perkins, who is a shithead, is like, "Hey, grab him," and everyone's like, "No, because we ain't shitheads." And then McGonagall is like, "Take all of the Slytherins to the dungeon." I know what you're gonna say. No, that's not good. However, initially, my thought process, which is what I thought McGonagall's thought process is that two things. One, some of these students are possibly going to be a problem because I've already had the issue where some of these students have been a problem. We're about to go to war with their parents. They could be moles, they could be agents. I don't know.
They
That's
could
the
just
situation.
not want to kill their parents.
Give me a second. I'm getting there. Because yes, on the other side, if they aren't that, they don't need to be here to experience that we're about to fight probably a handful of their parents. And then there's the moment the dungeons would do, and at first it's like, "Hey now, come on." But the Slytherin common room is in the dungeons. So there's a way to interpret that they're just sent to their room to be removed from the equation so they don't cause problems for us and we don't cause problems for them. However, in the version I saw, which is on Peacock, which has all of the scenes, it does include the scene where Filch is locking them in the dungeon. So it undoes
Wow.
my thought
My version
process.
did not have that.
Yeah. There's some
Okay,
wiggle
so
room with that deleted scene, but no, he goes and he locks them in a fucking dungeon, which undoes all of the care
to
that I thought McGonagall was including.
I think this moment is okay. So the reason that we have to do exactly what McGonagall says is because of the way the world is written, which is to
Yeah.
say, in other words, like the situation that we are served as readers or watchers in this moment, McGonagall absolutely makes the right decision to remove all of Slytherin House. Not a single Slytherin throughout this entire franchise, or at least not as a student, has shown any interest in resisting the dark. We have students who are just students, but we don't have anybody who actively works against the dark. Then we have all the other reasons you mentioned, right? Like even if they're not moles, even if they're not turned or interested in climbing the ranks in the dark forces of evil, they have connections, and asking them to fight may be morally wrong, or at the very least, it could lead to a conflict of loyalty, and
Mm-hmm.
you really can't have that right now. These are not soldiers. They're not trained to fight the people that they might know. Even soldiers have a hard time with that. So telling the Slytherin house as a collective to not be a part of the battle is actually a really good move with what we've been given.
Mm-hmm.
The problem I have with it is because it shows the weakness of writing in the world. The fact that we don't have a dedicated group of Slytherins that have consistently resisted and said we're not a part of it. The fact there's no Slytherin that stands in front of Patsy and says, no, we're not going to turn over Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So the problem I have with it is not that McGonagall made the wrong choice. It's just that there wasn't enough in-world complication to make there wasn't enough in-world complication to make that a bad choice. Mm-hmm. So like, and even if there were like in-world complications where there were some Slytherins that were like loyal to the cause and we knew them to be good, they had stood up against family members before, you still take the majority of Slytherin house, the ones that haven't actively shown their loyalty before, and you put them in a place they cannot leave. I mean, dungeons is harsh, but you lock the door wherever they go because, one, it's safer for them in there, and two, if there are any moles, you've controlled their movement. So, like, and again, you don't know who you're working with. They wanted Draco to kill Dumbledore. Draco has a dark mark. He is a student. So you really can't, like, you can't pretend like they're all innocents. It is better in the moment going into battle that you pretend that they're all dark. The only thing is that I wish there were students that made themselves known as allies and friends to the forces of good.
For sure.
That McGonagall would have specifically called out, you guys can stay, and everybody else had to go. You know, that's what I would want for the world and for that moment.
Absolutely.
To really get into the conversation about, like, what is, you know, the human condition and, like, different human traits and different people and different styles of being. Ambition is inherently not bad. And it is bad that we have cast ambition as an inherently bad thing. Because ambition is not the same as a love of power in the sense of, like, absolute power, you know? But I'm digressed at this point. That's my issue with the scene. Not McGonagall's decision. The fact that McGonagall's decision is the right decision shows a weakness in the world, I think.
I'm right there with you. Then it's immediately followed up by locking the doors, and this sequence is dope as hell. Because the big spell dome is awesome. I love the veiny, like, details, again adding, like, natural elements to this magic, making it feel like it is adjacent to the natural world. The pure totem locomotor spell with the knights all landing Iron Man style is so cool.
It's great. And the McGonagall being excited about it too is great.
So good. I've always wanted to use that spell. Is amazing.
Imagine her reading about it like as a student, like, you know, back when she was attending Hogwarts, and she's waited for decades to use it.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so dramatic. It's umphy. The concrete landing on the stone with the music. Again, we didn't talk about it last movie, but of course, consistently, music is great. Music's awesome.
The music is stellar.
Gorgeous.
It's really good.
Yeah. And then the humor of her telling them to go blow up the bridge and Seamus really getting to be himself is wonderful. Gotta love that. And then we go our separate ways. We're on our mission. We're going to the Ravenclaw common room. We're going to the Chamber of Secrets. We're all going and looking for things, and it's all very fun. Would you get? I think looking back on it, especially excited, you get a little lost in the sauce. But I think the movie kind of does that on purpose because it's a fight that just happens all night. This is also the only.
There's a kind of like, not aimlessness, but there's a kind of like chaos and overwhelming bit, and I think it works for the scene. I don't have an issue with the sort of lack of direction that this film has for a second in the battle, because I think the purpose of it is to show you what it's like to be in the battle, and it's chaotic. It's students against Death Eaters. Like, you're just trying to survive. There are spiders crawling all over the courtyards and giants. You're throwing spells everywhere and dodging spells everywhere. It should feel a little bit aimless, I think. I like it.
Yeah, I agree. It is fun. Harry getting the info about Ravenclaw, Helena Ravenclaw, great. I love the conversation between him and Helena.
Agreed.
I'm a little torn because Helena as a ghost is very different from what the ghosts look like in the first movie, and I like what the ghosts look like in the first movie, but kind of dig how the ghosts are looking now with like this weird black and white thing, and they're just a little bit off. It's cool, and like her face is slightly distorted when she gets angry. Like, it's cool. It's spooky, but in a weirdly believable way. So I like that. Ron also, so here's what I'll say about Ron. And it's not a bad thing, but I feel like I don't know what's happened between every other movie and now, but Ron has like just decided to be useful. And that he can speak parcel tongue, kinda, because Harry talks in his sleep. He remembers things that Hermione says from a year ago. Totally fair. He likes her. I get that. But like, Hermione, why didn't you remember? Like, there is a little bit of the other characters have to be dumb for him to be smart. But at the same time, he's encouraging Harry and giving him ideas. And like, he thought of the Basilisk Fang. He can speak parcel tongue. He remembers the thing about the map. He tells Harry to look into Voldemort's mind. Like, dude, where have you been the last couple of years? But like, you're a powerhouse. This is really working for everybody, you know? So it's a little funny. It's like they were like, yo, you know, this is the last movie. We kind of have to give Ron stuff to do. We have to make sure that he gets to do shit here.
Yeah. No, it's not Ron's movie by any means, but he does suddenly
shine,
come in clutch in a way that he like literally never had before.
Yeah.
Like if he had a tendency to remember what his friends said, that would be in line with his character. If he had a tendency, like maybe he's really good with languages. Why not, right? So Harry talking in his sleep, maybe he can pick up parcel tongue. But the fact that it all comes out of nowhere, it feels very manufactured for him in a way that I don't think is good. It's not horribly distracting, but it is kind of like, where is all this coming from?
When you watch them back to back, especially part 1 and part 2, or just 7 and 8 back to back, it's like, so he went from Oliver Twist to Rambo in like a day, it kind of seems, which so it is a little funny, but still very enjoyable. Like, honestly, if this feels more normal. Like, this feels like what it should be.
Yeah.
Is they're all smart, they're all brave, they're all doing the work.
Yeah. Because if they have sort of like single characteristics or functions in the group, Hermione is like the planner, the strategist, the knower of things, right? She knows stuff so she can provide information and come up with ways to use that information. Harry is the like sort of linchpin. Everything happens around him or to him, which means that he actually, in another way, is kind of like an information hub, but more like in a relationship way. Like, he knows everybody, and so he gets a lot of information and understandings through his relationships with people. I mean, they even directly use that in Half-Blood Prince. He is developing a relationship with Slughorn just so we can get information from him. So, like, that's kind of Harry's role. Ron's is supposed to be, like, emotional support. He's supposed to be present and stabilizing for the two others, because Harry's an extreme prodigy in one way. He's a great magic user. He's got a lot going on in terms of like the Chosen One and his history, and Hermione's doing a lot mentally. So Ron is supposed to be a stabilizing element for them, but the only time they really use him in the movies is when he's causing conflict, which is inherently contradictory to what role he's supposed to play in the trio. So when Ron is doing things like this in this film, where he's like suddenly knowledgeable or strategic, that feels kind of strange. Although the strategic should line up with his chess playing ability, which we never really come back to. The first one sets him up as a strategist and never really comes back to him. That's kind of annoying. But like, he's supposed to be an emotional stability thing, and I don't necessarily say that they never should have fights. Like, I kind of like some of their fights. They're kids. The fact that they fight over the things they fight over is very teenage thing. But I am frustrated that that's the only time he gets highlighted in the films, whereas he should be in those small moments. Carve out time for Ron to be like, you're all right, Harry. It's going to be okay. Here, let me take you to my parents' house so they can make you a sweater and you can eat good food. Like, that's what Ron is supposed to do, and it's very irritating that he doesn't get to do that in a lot of the films.
Yeah, I agree. But he's having fun in this one, so good.
Yes.
Good on
It's
him.
not really in line with who he's supposed to be, but like,
No.
hey, at least he can do something.
Yeah. Let's see what else we have. We destroy the cup. Awesome. Hermione gets to take out a Horcrux. That's great.
Acting.
Acting.
Harry knows when the cup is destroyed.
Oh yeah.
Like he felt like it was weird before, but he was always directly involved in the destruction of the Horcrux before. This is the first time he's like,
Oh shit.
I'm not there, and I am feeling it just as bad. And he knows something is up. I don't know if he knows, but he knows that every time a Horcrux is killed, he feels bad. And that's enough for him to be able to know that this is not going to be good for him at the end of it.
Yep.
Which is a great piece of acting and a great like story writing choice.
Setting it up real nice. And then Voldemort has his big scream, and we take out the dome. And we blow up the bridge. That's great. We love that. Love that for Neville.
The bridge is so good.
Yes. Then we get the big rampage of dark forces with the giants and the weird half werewolf things, because it's not a full moon, but they're all crazy like Greyback, and our Death Eaters and Flitwick's running for his life. And I was telling partner while watching it tonight, I understand that I'd have to go in and change a couple of things and have more time to set up. I kind of wish it was a little more endgame. Just imagine for a second, right? 'Cause in the book, there is more shit. We have Wood with the team of flyers and Professor Sprout's out dropping, like, Devil's Snare. It was cool to see the one giant get taken out by vines. But imagine, Charlie Weasley shows up on Norberta, actually. Like, and then Fluffy is out there tearing stuff to pieces. It's awesome to see Aberforth take out all of the Dementors, but like, what if we found out that because of the weird way they operate, the ghosts can actually can touch them? So like, nearly headless Nick is out there with the Bloody Baron and the Fat Friar, and like everything that we've seen before all coming together in this crazy battle. I live off that shit. And Harry Potter has set it up really, really well. And we get that with the characters. But there's a lot of cool magical elements that we could also include here. I also, in the dream world, it's a full moon. And Remus has his potion. And we have a werewolf on our side that gets to go kick some ass. Oh, I would love it. Oh, I would love it so much. But anyway. The battle happens. The music is great. Quidditch pitch is torn down. There's a giant literally using one of the Quidditch hoops as a weapon. Hardcore. Also terrifying.
I did not realize that's what that was.
That's a Quidditch hoop.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just thought it was like a weird sickle weapon.
Nope.
But no, that is definitely a broken Quidditch hoop. Okay.
Yep. Quidditch hoop. Let's see here. What else? We're fighting... People are dying, and
I find it irritating that the students weren't organized. We had time to shelter Hogwarts, but we didn't put the younger students away in their rooms and then tell everyone where their positions were.
Oh, so the students that stay all chose to stay. Again, this is the fault of the movie. The ones that wanted to leave, the little ones, they go out through the tunnel through the Hogshead, so they left.
But when the attack happens, students are just randomly everywhere throughout Hogwarts.
That's true.
You should have obviously they're not soldiers, so you couldn't just be like, Battalion 2, go to the West Hallway. You couldn't do that. But you could be like, 5th years, you are stationed here. Or maybe break it up by houses, like take 10 Ravenclaw and go to this location, and your job is to do blank, right? And instead, it's just like students are just randomly scattered about Hogwarts as a whole when the attack happens, and as if they were just going about business as usual, or I don't know, trying to fortify something, even though we don't see them build any physical fortifications. So I get questions about why everyone was scattered when they knew the attack was coming.
Yeah.
But
I think part of that is you didn't need to set a trap on the bridge. Just go burn it down, set it on fire, leave, and then go join the rest of the team, because you didn't need to blow it up.
I mean, they did take a few people out through the bridge.
They did, which is great, and it's fun and satisfying, but they could have been elsewhere to help fight if they just removed it.
It took a lot of resources to do just that. Yeah. That's fair.
But let's see. Remember where we are. Then we go to the room of requirement, because we've made it out of the Chamber of Secrets, and we have a little moment with Draco, and we found another Horcrux, which is great. And Draco is confusing me a bit, because he didn't tell them it was Harry in the last movie, and as soon as he's called out on that, he crumbles. So just like, I don't exactly know what it is you're doing here.
I think what they try to establish with Draco is that he has no real appetite for being power hungry, like almost suggesting that he wants power because he's been taught to want power, not because he inherently wants power or the risks that come with trying to get power. Because like you can't get power without risks. Draco is risk adverse. He likes things to be comfortable. When he is uncomfortable, he immediately resorts to saying, "The powers that I have will make it comfortable for me." You know, wait till my father hears about this. And so he's used to a life of comfort and security, and he goes where he finds the most comfort and security. However, he's not finding it in the places where he was told he'd be secure, even with like the Death Eater stuff. He thinks that by becoming a Death Eater and following the Dark Lord's plans, he will have a secure and safe place in the New World Order. He won't be in danger. But it becomes pretty clear that his goals are not necessarily aligned with Voldemort's goals. He doesn't really want to be a killer or a soldier, and his inner conflict is making him feel unsafe because Voldemort kills people who are not perfectly loyal to him. So Draco is figuring out that, you know, being a dark evil person is not for me, but leaving the dark evil forces requires him to surrender any form of security that he's previously familiar with. So when he can, he doesn't do what he doesn't want to do, which is like the dark stuff, right? When he can help people, he generally does. Not necessarily because he wants to help them, but rather because he just has no stomach for hurting them. And then when his life is on the line, he'll choose the option that seems safest almost every single time, which means that, you know, when Voldemort calls them in that final moment, he does come over, particularly when his mother calls, because that's his place of security and comfort calling for him. So, like, Draco being sort of like the figurehead of Slytherin in the story is a very interesting choice. I don't think she knew what she was doing with Draco when she wrote him. I still don't think she knew what she was doing with Draco up to the end of the story, because his end doesn't really say anything other than that he wanted to be safe. And he didn't feel safe. So his story,
he has no
feels
redemption, though. That's the weird thing.
It's unfinished. In my opinion, like, it's not redeemed. It's not condemned. He's just a coward. And like, maybe that's what we're trying to say, but he's a coward who still feels unsafe at the end of the day. And maybe that's the message we're supposed to get. Like, if you always choose the safe option, you'll actually never feel safe. But it's not focused on enough in the film or like resolved enough in the film for it to feel like a lesson. It just is for that character.
I think it's weird.
And I don't. It could be better. It could be better.
Of the Malfoys that almost get like a weird little redemption, it's Narcissa, the one we've had the least amount of time with. That also
but
somehow
she's the
feels
one that
slightly
makes
satisfying.
the brave, contradictory choices against Voldemort. You know, so
that's very interesting. But yeah, then we get Goyle setting the whole place on fire, and we have the only instance of Hermione ever being on a broomstick of the entire 8 movies. And then we go and save them. And I agree with Ron. If we die trying to save them, I'm going to kill you. Because I'm not saying that I'm the best person in the world. I'm not. I'm aware of that. I don't think I would have done that. Draco, after everything.
That's where I feel like the power of friendship or nobility should have turned Draco, right? Like, not necessarily that we would expect self-sacrificial actions to necessarily always result in significant change, but that is how people change. People don't change because it's easy. People change because they've been shown that it's worth it, or they feel like they owe somebody something. A lot of times people redeem themselves after they've been given some sort of grace they couldn't explain. So, Draco being sorry, my headphones just died.
Oh no.
It's fine. So this works last time, so it should be fine to wrap up.
Okay.
But going back for Draco, and Draco knowing full well that he was literally just trying to like kill these guys and they risked their life for him, should have been a like crucible moment for the character. It should have
Mm-hmm.
been a moment where he made his decision about what he wanted. But at the end of the film, he still feels uncertain. Like he crosses over to his mom because his mom is calling for him, but that doesn't feel like a decision he makes. It feels like he's surrendering to somebody else's desire.
Right.
So for Drago to have literally no like real
He has no
motivation
agency.
or decision or agency, yeah, it's again like I think maybe she was trying to go for like a whole like cowards thing where she was condemning people who are afraid to take action, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it works because it feels at the end of the day that he never makes any decisions rather than making decisions to consistently be a coward. So
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, Draco. But so I was thinking of something kind of funny during this one as well. I don't want to sympathize with Voldemort, and I won't. However, there is definitely a little bit of I learn of this super rare, difficult, treacherous, dangerous magic, even, and I accomplish it. It's crazy. I spend years doing it. I made all these Horcruxes. I hid them. It's incredible. No one's ever done this. And these 17-year-old motherfuckers destroyed 2 of them in 30 minutes. Like,
Very
that's
Scooby Doo.
right. You meddling children. Like, it is so funny. Just, and I understand that it's only because of it's his own downfall. Harry is a Horcrux. You know, he's not. They're not just finding them by accident. But it's like, of all the villains to have like a mental breakdown through frustration, I submit Voldemort, because like, how are they doing this? Like, I hit them so well. Like, it's real funny. And then on the flip side of that, can you imagine the poor bastard Dumbledore when he realizes that he cursed himself with a Horcrux? He learns of the Horcruxes. He curses himself, so he's gonna die within a year. And then he drinks the pain potion, which puts him through agony for nothing, just to find out that there was a Horcrux in his fucking school almost the entire time of his headmaster tenure. Like, oh my gosh, I'd be so frustrated. It was there the whole time. It's rough.
Yeah. That that's unfortunate. For
Yeah.
sure.
Tis unfortunate. But we destroyed 2. That's great. This, I referenced this last week. You can kind of see it, but it just looks like dustiness. Voldemort's robes are made up of 7 layers of dark green, and for every Horcrux, it gets a shade lighter, which you cannot see because of the filter of dinge that they put on the last 3 movies.
That's so annoying.
Isn't that
Let
cool?
me see the character.
Isn't that cool? Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's very
I don't know
cool.
why green. Well, Slytherin. Never
Slytherin,
mind.
that's why.
I was thinking like green is like a sign of rebirth and growth and
No, here's a
spring.
sign of
No,
evil, unless you're McGonagall, in which case it's just cool. So yeah, the fight's going on, and it's honestly pretty entertaining. Like, it's cool, it's dramatic. The music again is great. The acromantulas show up, and we lose Lavender, which don't love her, but then like the way she dies is always so tragic.
Yeah,
Like,
agreed.
it hurts.
Perfect
Yeah. And we run away from the giant, and then Snape dies, and even before you know anything about him being a good guy, that's rough. That's a
brutal
rough
death,
yeah, it's
man.
a rough way to go.
He dies for his loyalty.
Yeah. It's also, I'm nitpicky. I don't think that's gonna solve your issue, Voldemort, because
No, agreed.
Nagini kills him. So like,
That was my thought as well.
yeah, we can't.
Well,
We can't
maybe because
Avada
he's a Horcrux, it counts. I don't know. We just introduced to these rules.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just they can't Avada Kedavra him because they have to have the moment between Snape and Harry, which is always a fun moment. Then we get the memories for the pensieve, a life flashing before your eyes style, which is fairly poetic. I'll give him credit there, because that's like the whole of his memories. And then Voldemort retreats for a bit. We find out who we've lost. And it hurts. It hurts pretty bad. I don't. If I think about Lupin and Tonks too long, it will depress me. of all of the ones, that's the one I feel like you can gloss over, just because we don't spend sufficient enough time with Tonks or Lupin, which is a tragedy.
No.
I love them
Mhm.
both. We need more time with them. The Fred one hurts. That hurts real
Yeah.
bad. That's rough.
I'll be honest though, I feel like we could have had the moment. The moment could have hit harder.
I
Like,
think we should have watched it happen.
and not only do I feel like we should have watched it happen, and if we don't watch it happen, when we walk in, we should find somebody discovering that it happened, and
Yeah.
there should be some very active grief rather than just a sort of like polite weeping.
Yeah.
Like we should have
It's
wailing
see,
happening. This is the Weasleys
yeah.
here.
I think we should see it happen, and because I think if you haven't read the book, there's the unfortunate, uncomfortable question as a movie watcher of which one is it? Because I don't know. Yeah, so it is rough though to watch Ron break down and Molly's down there. You know, like it does suck quite a bit. And then we have though the craziest moment of this movie, if you hadn't read the books and you're just watching the movies, the reveal that Snape was a spy the whole time. That blew my little 14-year-old mind when that happened, because I hadn't read the books yet, and I was a big old Snape hater, so that was crazy.
I think it was spoiled for me by the time I went to the series. I think because like I was reading it in high school, and that was the peak like Snape apologist time because people just found out about it, and so like everyone was like, by the time you know what he's done at the end of the book, you change your opinion on him. That was like the main like take on Snape when I was reading the books. So like even as he was making decisions that felt pretty dark and evil, a part of me was like, there's a twist though, right?
Right.
And then for the twist to be that he was so obsessed with Lily Evans that he like made it his business to ruin Voldemort, that alone kind of cool. The fact that he hates her son, Lily would not like you, sir.
Yeah.
Like
there's definitely some people that have misinterpreted what's happened to the point where they ship Lily and Snape, and
yeah,
it's like no, you're missing all of this here, because Snape wasn't ready or willing to take Voldemort out. He wasn't ready or willing to betray him. He just wanted Lily protected. That's it. He's still a bad guy. And then he operates out of guilt, grief, and, I don't know, a slight sense of loyalty to work with, I don't know what the right word would be. Loyalty is a bit of it. There's also a little bit of manipulation to be Dumbledore's right-hand man. So there's no version of this. If you take James out of the equation, Lily still wouldn't end up with Snape.
No,
because he was still drawn to the dark arts. He still liked the evil stuff, and Lily wasn't about that. She just wasn't. You take James out of the equation, she'd probably end up with Lupin. But that's for a different universe. But to find out as well that Harry is a Horcrux, that's wild. That's fun. I feel like a lot of people will kind of put that together already. But to have it laid out, confirmed, pretty crazy.
And it's a big emotional moment for Harry too, because that recontextualizes everything for him, at least in relation to like Dumbledore and whatnot. Because like Dumbledore didn't know the whole time, right? But there was a time where Dumbledore knew and didn't tell him.
Yeah.
And like that's tough to find out that the guy who like, you know, said he believed in you, was training you to do what you needed to do, was maybe just sort of like setting you up as a lamb to the slaughter the whole time, you know, especially since he didn't tell you.
Yeah.
That's tough. And I think, I don't know if we're interested in really getting into the Dumbledore discourse here as to whether or not we see him as a hero or a villain. That's not really, I don't feel like that conversation works well in this story, because I feel like so much of the plot was just sort of made up on the fly, that Dumbledore's decisions are dependent on the context in which they were written in, not so much in the world that it ends up being at the end of the day. So you can't form a solid opinion on Dumbledore because he changes every time he's written in a new book. But for Harry, that's a significant moment. Like not only does he just find out that in order to defeat Voldemort and protect all his friends and family and end the conflict that he was born into, he has to die,
Mm-hmm.
allow his enemy to kill him
Mm-hmm.
specifically. Um, he also learns that people in his life knew that and let him pursue this conflict without telling him what the end result would have to be. And that is tough.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big thing, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, for sure. And I do think, again, I don't want to get into the discourse too much. I lean a little more positive on Dumbledore just because of the big picture. The Snape memories cut out perfectly because they're Snape's memories, where we don't learn. Like, we have every reason to hate Dumbledore. So does Harry. And then I think it's elaborated on more in the afterlife there for a bit, when we find out that Dumbledore knew more and like knew that Harry was always going to maybe have the option to go back because of the way Voldemort recreates himself in the fourth one, that Harry would be protected, but he didn't tell Snape that, so Snape couldn't know it, so it looks worse from his perspective. Um
Mm-hmm.
and I wish we got more of that in this, cuz like
Mm-hmm.
we learn what we learned from Snape, and then we die, and then Dumbledore's like, "Hey, you did it! That's
Yeah.
great. You gonna go back now?" Like, well, I'm sorry, huh? And Harry also, he's not mad, he's not upset. Like, he's pissed in the book at first. Like, there's definitely some things that could have been added to add a little more
Mm-hmm.
oomph, you know. But we skipped over. We had the Resurrection Stone. Had it the whole time. That's fine. It wasn't really useful before.
Yeah.
I I really do like the moment with James, Lily, Sirius, Lupin. I kind of wish though that after everything, Snape was there. I don't need dialogue, but
Mm-hmm.
if Harry had that moment with all of them and then like looked over his shoulder and Snape was there and they just had like a nod, like just this little tiny sliver of understanding, like I acknowledge what you've done, and Snape
Mm-hmm.
has like a moment of he like just lets out a breath because like this whole time, this 8 movies, he's never been able to relax. I think it would be cool. When I was a kid, I wanted like a nod between him and James or him and Lily. I don't want that. We don't need that at
Mm-hmm.
all. But I think he should have been there for at least Harry's sake.
Well, and regardless of how they feel about each other, they both needed the other to get their goal accomplished. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like if Harry's thing is I need to end Voldemort so that people I love and care about stop dying, and Snape's thing is I need to end Voldemort because he killed someone I cared about. They actually need each other. They
Mm-hmm.
both serve a role that the other couldn't in this. And so it's not necessarily like a reconciliation thing. It's just more of like a you got me to this point and now I'm going to finish the job sort of moment. And I'm going to finish the job is tragic in this instance of like, I'm just going to walk up and let him kill me.
Mm-hmm.
But there would be a respect there, I think, between the two of them that maybe does exist sort of like metaphysically in time between the two of
Yeah,
them. But
yeah.
like, there's never like a solid moment where you're asking for here. I think I could see something like that, you know, and again, not indicating that they're suddenly friends or something, not that Harry's
No,
going to
no.
name his kid after the
Oh, don't.
guy.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Oh goodness.
But there is an acknowledgement of the fact that they literally could not have accomplished their task without the other, and the fact that their task is the same.
Mm-hmm.
So
Just
I
something.
agree. That was
Yeah,
a good
something.
moment.
It's
Hmm.
also it's a little bit annoying to think now that this whole thing could have been fixed if Dumbledore entrusted Snape with the Resurrection Stone, then gave it to Harry, and Harry, Ron, and Hermione had Ghost Dumbledore the whole time, and they could have just gone on Horcrux hunts and known where the sword was, because it was literally an option. But anyway, let's come back to the movie.
They carried that stone with
The whole
them.
time. The whole time. So then Harry dies. Very dramatic. And Voldemort is killed in the
It is sad.
piece of a sword. Awesome.
It's mostly sad because Hagrid's there. Let's be honest.
Oh,
Hagrid
poor
makes that
Hagrid.
scene.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's rough. And then we come back, and it's I love it. I mean, Neville's speech is great. The sword is great. But then Harry coming back and the music with the drums and everyone's reaction. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Can you imagine what Hagrid's thinking in that moment? Like, that's wild.
Mhm.
That's so much fun.
Mhm.
And then we have...
Honestly, I don't know if I process it. Like if I'm in
I know.
Hagrid's shoes, holding like the corpse of my dead friend,
Yeah.
kid friend, and then like I'm watching the evil that is Voldemort,
Mm-hmm.
gloat over
Right.
all of my friends. I'm being held, tied down with chains around my neck,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the corpse kicks
Yeah.
out at me, falls out of my arms, and runs around the corner.
Yeah.
What?
Way to solidify the boy that lived in front of
Yeah.
everyone. This dude took... So, like, the first time, it was ambiguous. We thought Harry
Mhm.
Potter took the killing curse to the face and lived, but he didn't. Lily did, and it caused all these issues, and the scar is where Voldemort's soul entered. But now, we saw this dude take a killing curse to the face, and what did it do? Checks notes. Jack Diddley. This dude is a legend, and it's wild. Good for
Yeah.
him. Good for him,
Yeah.
That's good.
It
That's good
really is.
stuff.
Like, I do appreciate the fact that Harry and Voldemort's main antagonism is really just that Voldemort keeps trying to kill him and Harry keeps
Yeah.
not dying,
Right.
largely through no effort of Harry himself. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Harry is a baby, doesn't know, has no strategy, obviously, right? He's just an innocent bystander. He gets caught up in all of it. And then Harry, as like in this moment, he fully expects to just be done.
Mm-hmm.
He walks in thinking, I'm going to die and that's going to be the end of it. Turns out, nope, you can keep living if you want to keep
Yeah,
going.
it's fine.
And so he's like, Voldemort's main thing is I'm going to kill Harry Potter so that he can't stop me. And Harry Potter's main thing is this guy keeps trying to kill me and he just
Yeah.
can't do it. And
Uh-huh. Harry Potter's main thing is nope. And he just
yeah,
keeps doing it. And then we have
which that
our...
kind of consistency is delightful. I love
Uh-huh.
it.
And we have our last little skirmish, and people are flying all over the place, and Voldemort is flying through the air and blowing stuff up, and the snake is causing issues, and whatever. And then we have a cool moment. We cut the snake's head off. Awesome. We fly through the air. Awesome. We're rolling around and shooting lasers. It's great. And then we did it. Finally. So great. Love it. Bellatrix dies. That's fantastic. Love that. Love that to death. I know there's discourse over the difference between the book and the movie where Voldemort, Thanos is away. And I get that. To have him fall over as just a dead body because he's nothing but a powerless man. I get that. My only thing is that this Voldemort is this weird goblet of fire cauldron baby. So, I kind of get the idea of him withering because he's like made of dark magic in this instance. I don't know. I'm torn. I don't have as big an issue with it, but I get the sentiment.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a firm stance. Like, I think if I were making the movie, I would have stuck with the book ending because I felt like that's a pretty good point. Like, I
Yeah.
like the point the book makes.
Mm-hmm.
But I like in all the other like major deaths of villains, it was a complete obliteration. Like Bellatrix is a great mention.
Mm-hmm.
She does also kind of like turn into confetti when she gets killed. And there's also a point of like, as violent as this film has been, you actually don't ever really focus on a dead person.
Mm-hmm.
There are people laying around who are supposed to be dead on the scene, but you don't really see a whole lot of blood, and you don't really see like a whole lot of up close. The lavender moment is the most we really
Yeah,
get
that's a
with
rough one.
up close and personal with
Snape is
a
pretty
dead
rough. That's a rough one.
Snape is. That's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
That's fair. But even that happens like through a pane of glass, right? I think they're
True.
making a conscious effort here to avoid graphic material for
Mm,
the younger audience that would be drawn by a Harry Potter film.
understandable.
And
See that?
focusing on the fact that Voldemort died just like anybody else would require you to linger the camera on him being dead.
Mm.
I don't think that really would have been that big of a deal, but maybe they were trying to avoid that and give his death like a moment of significance in the cinematic timing of it
Mm-hmm.
without like getting graphic with it. Um, I still lean towards the book ending, but I don't think it's
That's fair.
like a crime that it was changed, you know? Hmm.
I don't take as much issue with that as I do what Harry does with the Elder Wand. I really like how, like what he does in the book. He fixes his wand and he just puts the Elder Wand to rest so that the power will die with him. I like
Hmm.
that. I understand in many stories across the media just destroying the thing that has the great power so that no one can use it. I don't think it's necessary here. You could film one more scene of him saying that like he does in the book to the portrait of Dumbledore in the office. You don't have to show him digging him up to put it back in the
Hmm.
grave or anything like that. You don't have to do that. But you could you
I My issue with that scene is what makes you think breaking the stick in half is going to be enough to destroy that
I know.
powerful
I
object?
don't actually yeah, no. I've always hated that. I don't like that you can
Yeah,
snap the elder wand in half.
I mean, the Elder One does go through stress. Like in the version I watched, you specifically see a
Yeah, the
crack
crack.
under,
Yeah.
like, yeah. And so, like, maybe the wand has been like weakened through Voldemort's extreme use and sort of like force of it, right? Um, but to even then, to just snap the Elder Wand and then toss it over the edge of a bridge and say, "We did it. We destroyed it, folks." Feels very like let's throw the One Ring in the river and hope for the best.
Right.
Um, if I decided that I wanted to get rid of the Elder Wand, I'm burning it.
Yeah.
Like ashes gone.
See, I
You
still don't even
know?
think that would work. I would not be upset if they made a Harry Potter world story 50 years after Albus Severus Potter graduates and we find out the Elder Wand healed itself because that's
Right.
ridiculous that you just
That's something the
snap
Elder
it.
Wand would absolutely do.
Yeah.
And like again, if we follow the mythos of it, the Elder Wand is supposed to be a trap by death, right?
Mm.
What makes you think that breaking the wand would
Yeah.
stop death from tempting people? Like
Right.
that's maybe the idea was just that the brothers were greedy enough that their greed was really the version of the trap, and if they had been strong enough to break the wand themselves, they would have been free. But like, that's not really what's being communicated by the story. I don't think. The Elder Wand is almost antagonistic in its presence
Mm-hmm.
as an object, as a power, and to suggest that breaking it in half like a twig and then tossing it over the river is the last you see of it. I like dropping the stone in the forest. I beg to differ. It is a
Yeah.
magical object. It will be discovered. It's not like it
I
decays over time, you
yeah.
know?
I like there's a headcanon alternative that I really do like where Harry does get rid of it, but after bringing it back to the castle and lets everyone have like 20 minutes with it.
Mm,
We get to say goodbye to Fred.
mhm.
We get to say goodbye to Lupin. We get to say goodbye to Pavarti or whichever of the Patil sisters had passed. Say goodbye to Lavender, like all of them, because it's like it
That's such a
drives you
good idea.
crazy over a long period of time. It's not
Hmm.
like a drug that you get addicted to immediately. So I think
Hmm.
there's some believability, some logic, and some grace to that we could have had.
Hmm.
Um, Only Harry gets to
It
say
adds
goodbye to his
nuance
loved
to the
ones.
conversation about like, death. Because like death has to be inherently a nuanced topic in the sense that it happens to all of us. So in some way we have to come to accept it, but at the same time, by resisting it, we are able to live our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so like anything that you write about death has to be about that balance, which I think she does kind of strike to do with the invisibility cloak being like, so long as sort of like humbly trying to escape attention is the best way to avoid drawing death to yourself is like the argument there. But I also like the sort of negotiation that you get with the others. Like power is a way to protect yourself. Now it also attracts power to you, so there's a consequence there. But you can prevent weaker opponents from killing you when you are more powerful. Same thing with the resurrection stone. There's a nuance there. When people
Mm-hmm.
die in battle, you do not get to live your life with them fully.
Mm-hmm.
And when you lose people early, death has taken something from you. I don't think it's unfair to say that. So the stone will give you a moment to reconcile with that person before you can move on, and maybe making the grief process easier because you
Yeah.
actually get that this is your last
Exactly.
conversation with them.
Mm-hmm.
So like to add nuance to the conversation, I really like the idea that he brings the stone back. A few people are able to use it to talk to the people that they lost, and then he gets rid of it. Like that's a really solid Harry Potter thing to do.
Mm-hmm. And then it's over, and all was well. But we get our little epilogue
Mm-hmm.
with our new generation. I don't know what the rule change has been, but I'm digging the fact that the kids are allowed all these different animals now. Ferrets, ravens. That's cool as hell. Don't know why that wasn't allowed before. But here we are, adult Harry and everybody. And in general, this scene is cute. You know, we don't have to think
It's
about
good.
the we don't have to think about the cursed child and where it goes. We can argue whether or not that's canon or not. This as it is, this is cute. This is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Then we remember the names. And it's just maybe the laziest thing that Rowling did was how she named the Potter children. James Sirius, Albus Severus, Lily Luna.
Yeah.
Did Ginny not get a say in any of this? Because she
It's a really
clearly
point.
didn't. Like,
It's okay. So this, in my opinion, has always been an indication of essentially Britishness of the author. It
uh,
is very European, very British to name people after the people you care about. And it's, I think, even equally British to have a focus on the paternal names focus rather than the maternal names. Like I'm gonna actually bring up an American example because it comes from this tradition. In Little Women, Margaret is the name of the first daughter and the name of the mom. Josephine is the name of the second daughter, and her father's name is Joseph. Like, that's
ew.
just kind of like par for the course in terms of like a culture of naming things. So, like, the dialogue around being named for the two bravest men I've ever known, I think we have issues with the names that are picked. And I love the point you make about Ginny not having an opinion because she really is kind of a nothing character. She's there so Harry can have kids at the end of the book, and that's really kind of it. Maybe so he can officially join the Weasley family, even though he should have been adopted in like book 3.
Uh
You
huh.
know, like it's she feels very sort of patched in to make something happen. She, like Dobby's, kind of a plot device more than a character. And for that reason, she doesn't get a lot of input in naming the kids. But it's also like maybe you could stretch it and say it's a little misogynistic, right? Like she is these kids'
Absolutely it's
mother.
misogynistic. It's misogynistic. It's weirdly European, but it's also just dumb because Harry Harry looks like James, and he ends up with someone who looks like Lily. And then he names his first kid after his father and names his daughter after his mother. It's gross. There's a level of this that a psychologist would be able to evaluate that I cannot, but it is gross. It's also just like if you want to say you want to do that, it's instantly less weird to do James Arthur and Lily Molly or Molly Lily or something like that. Or it's just, why Luna? Like there was a TikTok guy that made a really funny video about this where it's like Harry's like, and I think I'll name my first daughter after my mother. Oh, okay, husband of mine, and then maybe her middle name could be after my mother. No, it's gonna be after a girl I took to a dance once, who
Yeah.
isn't you,
Yeah.
who isn't my other best friend Hermione, but it's gonna be Luna.
Mhm.
Dude,
That's
ew,
rough.
just
That's rough.
weird.
It's gross.
I don't like any of them. I honestly don't like that James is named James because it's James and then Harry James and then like I don't care if it's
Mhm.
European. It's gross and
Mhm.
dumb because like no other family does that. It's Scorpius Malfoy, Hugo
Mhm.
Weasley, Rose Weasley, and
Yeah, they're
Harry's
named
just
in sort of like their tradition of their families, but not with the same names. I agree. I've never liked the naming convention where you just name your kids after yourself. It's
no.
always felt very narcissistic. Now, I do like family names because I ascribe value to family and being under the same umbrella. But generally speaking, like the idea that you would want your kid to have the exact same name as you has never made sense to me. Like, do you not want your kid to be their own person?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and also in the kind of that same way, naming them after people in your life sets an expectation that they're going to be like those people,
Mm-hmm.
which in the same way, like maybe looking up the meaning of the name that you pick for your kid is maybe like a positive, hopeful thing. Just like you're hoping for the best for your kid by naming them after someone that you admired and you liked and thought had a good life. But to name your kid every single one of their names doesn't belong to them, but belongs to somebody else in
Mm-hmm.
your story. I mean, Luna's a stretch. You're right. You're absolutely right. The
It's
Luna
weird.
one is crazy.
It's weird. It's just strange.
Yeah, no, it's. I think she tries to do too much in the prologue. She should have just named the kids something sweet with like a middle name or something, and the rest of them were just normal, and
Just
it
you
would have been better.
spent more than 5 minutes thinking about it, you know? Because there is like a consistent thread where like all the women are named after flowers. Just give her a new flower. Name her
Hmm.
Daisy for all I fucking care. You know, like something else.
Yeah, yeah. Or like since the Weasleys had something going on with the Regents, pick like another theme or something that's in that
Yeah,
vein. All the Weasley kids are named after a king or
sure.
a queen.
Yeah. If you wanted to maintain Albus Severus to have that moment about the two headmasters, then maybe the eldest son between Harry and Ginny could be Fred, because that's the one we
Hmm.
lost. You know,
Hmm.
like I don't know. It's just dumb. So that part's dumb. I enjoy this movie quite a bit. The opening is awesome.
Yeah,
The battle is
yeah.
great. I have a lot of fun with this one. It is a whale, in my opinion.
I agree.
And
I enjoyed this film. Like,
yeah,
I would watch it again,
action
absolutely.
packed.
And
Music's
yeah,
great.
the acting is really good. I mean, again, like the movie is moving fast, but you still
Mm-hmm.
have plenty of moments where the actors are doing their job in the
Mm-hmm.
story, and
Mm-hmm.
that's amazing. I love it when actors get to act. Sometimes, so many
Yes.
times it's very basic, like they capture a face and then move on. Like the actors get to have layers to their expressions, and you can tell the purpose of watching them is to watch them go through those emotions. Like it's good. I like it a lot.
Yep. Fantastic. Well, this has been a fun marathon. I'm glad we did this one. I know you were a little reluctant at first.
A little bit, yeah. I wasn't sure how it was gonna go. Overall, kind of like solidified my stance, maybe pushed it a little towards the positive side. Just a reminder
Ooh.
that it is a fun thing to watch.
Yeah.
If you apply any sort of logic to it, it has like this watch has affirmed the fact that the world is actually very splintered and broken. Like I did not realize before watching the films how many fundamental issues are in the story. It's kind of like before I thought there was a significant fault line, right? That
Mm-hmm.
everything kind of like was unbalanced because of the fault line.
Yeah.
Now I'm like there's a fault line and several spidery offshoots of
Yeah.
that fault
Well,
line that kind of infect
just wait
everything.
until we do the Fantastic Beasts movies and make it way worse.
Let's just do the first one and call it a day.
I like the first one a lot.
The first one is amazing. I was
Yep.
so
It
hopeful.
was so good. All right, but that's us though. On to
That's
a
us.
a new marathon next week. It's kind of maintaining a similar thread of fantasy and magic and
Mhm,
broom
mhm.
riding, so that's cool. But yeah, good stuff. All right, bye
Yeah.
everybody.